my fieldwork, and so it's semi like shameless plug here, as well as just to share it with you. So the title of my research is Language Enough? Social Integration and Competing Host Identities Among Second-Generation Immigrants of Color in Quebec. So I think we can skip the next slide. That's fine, you don't need to spend a week. I'm realizing 5 minutes is really short. Okay, so we'll just skip to the gap in the literature. So like 10 years ago, there was a ethnic diversity survey done by the federal government in StatsCan, and it was like, second generations feel less belonging and less Canadian identity than first generations, which is weird because we sort of view integration as a linear thing, and that as generations go on, we should see more levels of integration, including belonging and identity. And then within that, it was like, oh, people of color are doing even worse, and they don't identify as Canadian and put on. And actually, the white second generations are doing just fine, and they feel more, they're following that sort of linear line of integration, let's say. And then so within that, within people of color, there are differentiations between different groups, right? So blacks are feeling the worst, South Asians sort of on the second level, East Asians on the next, and others are there. But, the numbers were sort of too small for other groups. And then, so another recent study came out, which can be expected because we have this other nationalism, this strong nationalism in Quebec, which many of us know. But then they're like, okay, but there's no attachment to the province either. So this is where we are. We have no idea why. The survey has been done once, never will be done again. And I've been reassured that it will never be done again. And so my study is really, we can go to the next one actually, sorry. So this is my question. So with this information, this quantitative data that we have, I'm trying to fill it in with qualitative work and asking, how do second generation youth of color negotiate these, what I'm calling competing national agendas or competing host identities across Canada, so sort of the Quebec versus Canada identity, as well as within Canada, so what are our understandings, within Quebec, so what are our understandings of Quebec identity, what parts are inclusive or exclusive of you, and then also the Anglophone, Francophone divide that we also have here in Montreal, which is where most of the second generations are. And so this is in regards to your own sense of social integration and identity, belonging, things like that. Next. And so within this, there's also, I'm asking about the process of negotiation. So what is it about Quebec identity that is inclusive or exclusive? What parts do you like? Which parts do you not? Which parts do you attach to? Which ones are, anyways, things like that. And then I'm also looking at the intersection of race. So, sorry, the next slide. Next one, actually. Okay, so this is the one slide that you can pay attention to. And so my research design is built among 4 groups based on language and race. And so while I'm not doing work in the Chinese community specifically, I do think that this has a lot of permeations and relevance for any second generation group or any groups of color. So, that said, I'm looking for people to interview here in Montreal. I'm thinking about outside of Montreal, but when I say Montreal, I mean Montreal area. When people are like, oh, I live in the South Shore, I was like, that's fine, it's close enough. Between 18 to 35, so this is basically like Bill 101 kids. I didn't go under 18 because I didn't want to deal with the ethics, very practically. And second generation immigrants, so what does this mean? How am I defining this? It's born in Quebec or arrived in Quebec before the age of 5 with at least one parent born outside the country. And then here's the kicker, specific groups. So I'm looking at Filipino, anyone who belongs to any of these groups, mixed race is fine as well. Filipino, Vietnamese, Anglo-Caribbean, or West Indian, which is broadly, and also Haitian groups. So I'm doing my duties in French and English, and these groups are specifically selected among language groups and racial groups. That is the end.